Hello, friends. The 743rd day of the war between Russia and Ukraine continues. Today in the Kharkiv region, they announced a forced and mandatory evacuation from a number of settlements in the Kupiansk direction, the regional military administration reported. Parents with children must leave 18 settlements in the Velikovrlutska and Vuhledar communities. And all residents must leave another 55 settlements, the names of which are not given. They promise to help with a new place to live. Ukrainian telegram channels are reporting today that the Ukrainian armed forces inflicted fire on the positions of Russian troops in the northern part of Avdiivka. The enemy maintains presence in the northern part of the village, which is why a gray zone has been added. In the Avdiivka direction, the Russian Ministry of Defense yesterday announced the destruction of the 3rd Abrams tank. Ukraine did not confirm this. But since the information is not refuted and is also supported by videos, we can say that American tanks are being thrown into battle en masse. This speaks to the critical importance of holding the current defense lines of the Ukrainian armed forces near Avdiivka. Why are Ukrainian forces launching counterattacks, judging by the use of tanks? Russian military telegram channels also write that the Ukrainian army is trying to counterattack, and especially strongly in Berdichi, where, by the way, 2 previous Abrams tanks were shot down. The significance of Berdichi is great. The capture of the village will allow the new Ukrainian defenses to the west of Avdiivka to be bypassed from the northern flank. Military analysts in Russia believe that Ukraine, holding its current positions along the Berdichi-Orlivka-Tonenki line, is building a fortified area to the west along the Solovyev-Yasnoborodivka-Umansky-Novopokrovsky line. According to data from the Ukrainian side, in Berdichi, the Ukrainian armed forces carried out a counterattack along Mara Street, pushing the enemy back from the northeastern outskirts and the forest belt by 150 meters. South of Orlivka, Russian troops advanced in an area up to 1.27 kilometers wide and to a depth of 500 meters. The enemy is increasing their efforts in Novomikhailivka in the Vuhledar sector. After unsuccessful assault attempts in the south, the Russians began to bypass the settlement to the southwest, where they tried to attack with personnel and equipment with up to 2 assault groups. Even though the assault teams were stopped, the gray area increased. In the village itself, heavy fighting continues with varying success. According to the telegram channel of the 46th Brigade, in the Vuhledar direction, the enemy is rightly convinced that there is no point in storming Vuhledar head-on, which is well fortified, and the Russians have been convinced of this more than once. In this regard, all the enemy's efforts are aimed at reaching the rear and flank of the Vuhledar group, but without taking Krasnohoivka, it is impossible to advance in the direction of Kuahovi through Georgiivka. Without taking Georgiivka, there is no advance in the village of Pobieda, and without it, there is no way out to the rear in Novomikhailivka. The capture of Novomikhailivka is now the only solution for the Russians to overcome this positional impasse and prepare the conditions for launching a decisive offensive in the direction of Vuhledar, writes the telegram channel of the 46th Brigade. The Russians have again intensified their assaults near Robotyny, reports the spokesman for the Tavria group, Likovi. Melitopol is becoming a hot area in our area of responsibility. There the enemy is trying to cut off the Robotyny salient. If in previous days and weeks there were sometimes no enemy assault operations there, sometimes there were 1 to 3, maximum 5, and over the past 24 hours 16 attacks in the areas were recorded here west of Verbovi and Robotyny, he said. In mid-February, the Russians already tried to attack here. According to some data, they were able to reach the center of Robotyny. Ukrainian military telegram channels reported that the Russians were periodically kicked out of there. Today, fighting continues in the Melitopol sector east of Robotyny and west of Verbovi. Yesterday, according to Ukrainian telegram channels, Russians west and south of Robotyny, with the support of armored vehicles, carried out a series of assault operations in the direction of the village and fortified area. The Ukrainian armed forces managed to repel all attacks. The Ukrainian army also attacked the enemy's forward positions, which is why a red zone was added in an area up to 4.3 kilometers wide and to a depth of 530 meters. The situation is being clarified. Meanwhile, the commander of the ground forces, Avdiivka, said that Ukraine plans to carry out counterstrike operations in 2024. Our task is to stabilize the front line, to destroy as much as possible, and to regroup units that need restoration and re-equipment, to bring them to training grounds in order to create a strike group and carry out counterstrike operations this year, Avdiivka said. We are succeeding, the situation is stabilizing. There are still several hot directions where the enemy is concentrating its maximum forces. This is Avdiivka, the direction of Chasiv Yar, the direction of turning towards Liman, he added. In response to this statement, the Telegram channel of the 46th Brigade writes that we constantly write about the enemy's lack of training at the tactical level, but when we hear again from our people that we are preparing a counterattack this year, we understand that we have gone even further. Our lack of training has remained at a higher level. This had already happened last year, when our plans for a counteroffensive were discussed all over the world, in all the media, on all social networks. The enemy only had to prepare. Commander-in-Chief of the Ground Forces, General Avdiivka, have you heard about secrecy? Writes the Telegram channel. Friends, preparing these daily reports has become my full-time job, and I have no other job for obvious reasons. There have been few views on the channel lately, which is why I ask for your help. If you have the opportunity to support me financially, I would be very grateful. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.